approach it is try to look at certainly the irrigation system and how
especially
efficient
within
it's
historic
performed.
districts. I think that's very key. Advantages also include
Hi, I'm Jessica French, President and CEO of the San Benito County Chamber of Commerce. Welcome to Going Green, the television show sponsored by the Chamber to promote and celebrate economic vitality along with environmental sustainability. We support meeting present needs without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their needs. Today we will hear from guests about the rebuilding historic Dunnville Dance Hall, the challenges of building green, and group discounts for going solar. My first guest is Don Pidd, caretaker of the San Benito County Historical Park. Welcome to the show, Don.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being here. So tell me about the historical park. When was it started and a little bit of background on it?
Okay, the historical park is part of the San Benito County Historical Society. The society was started in 1956. And for the first, about 20 years, it focused mainly on preserving and archiving smaller objects in the local museum, downtown Hollister. And then in about 1977, 1978, and I'm going to veer off a little bit here because this is the small town stuff. I was a firefighter in Hollister, and we were scheduled to have a practice burn on this dilapidated old building on the north end of town that at the time was owned by my wife and her first husband.
Oh, wow.
Who I wasn't connected with at the time. And a group of gentlemen, Jack O'Donnell, Dick Hill, and Fred LaSalve, along with the other members of the society, decided to save the Sullivan House. It turns out that ramshackle old house was one of the original houses in Hollister.
Oh, wow.
It was actually built before there was a San Benito County and before there was a Hollister. So it was built in 1867, and it was built for the widowed sister of the carpenter for Colonel Hollister. And
wow.
She had lost her husband up in Gold Country and raised 4 daughters in the house. So they were able to save that house and bring it out to, at that time was just a San Benito County park, and that became the roots of the historical park just about a mile south of Tres Pinos.
How interesting. And so I know that you have a special building that you're trying to rebuild, the Dunnville Dance Hall. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Sure. The Dunnville Dance Hall was originally built in 1890 by Leonard Chase. And as an aside, we just had a big fundraiser to raise money to rebuild the dance hall. And the great-grandchildren of Leonard came to that event. So that was pretty exciting for us. The building was sold in 1918 to the Bromley family. Then in 1921, about there, they actually moved the building and faced San Felipe Road, right near Dunnville Corners. After that time, it had many different incarnations. It was an electric shop, an auto shop, a radio shop. And then in 1992, the Historical Society was able to procure it, and we moved it out to the park. We had to take the roof off and in 3 large sections move it out to the park. And got it all set up, and it was going to be a meeting place for residents of the community. And we had a chamber mixer there at one time. 4-H used it, Boy Scouts used it. And then on New Year's Day of 2006, a freak windstorm hit it and blew the thing to the ground, completely smashing everything.
And I understand that you do have a fundraiser that you're doing now. Would you like to talk a little bit about that?
We've had a couple fundraisers in the past. We're going to have to do it because we're a nonprofit with not a lot of money, like most nonprofits. We're going to try to redo everything in sort of segments. And last year we were able to put the new foundation in, and this year we're focusing on just raising the roof, putting a roof cover over the event center so that we have a place to hold future events for future fundraisers, and also a place where other people and community groups could meet and have activities.
Great.
This year we've had 2 fundraisers. We had a wine tasting, which you attended.
Yes.
And everyone seemed to have a great time. And then last Saturday we had our first large fundraiser. It was a barbecue dance. We had quite a big turnout, and everyone had a real great time.
Great. And are you planning on implementing any green practices with the new building or reconstruction?
Green practice, that's an interesting concept for a historical park, since we're sort of limited in our use of utilities, et cetera. But we've talked about trying to figure out if there's a way to use solar, because we have no power in the building, and down the road we know we're going to need power, so that's one avenue. Throughout the park where we have gardens, we've put in drip systems to minimize our water use. And then we try to recycle virtually everything we can, just as they did 120, 130 years ago.
Great. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today. And if you'd like to provide your contact information, email or a phone number that you have for the viewers.
Sure. If you'd like to donate, you can contact us at our website, sbchhistoricalsociety.org. It's .org. I had to think for a second. Or you can also go through the Community Foundation's website, helpsanbenito.org. Or you can contact me or any of the other board members of the Historical Society if you're interested in making a donation or getting more information about what we're doing.
Great.
And you can contact me at my phone number, 831-902-9349 at any time.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Hi, welcome back to Going Green. My name is Shawn Novack. I'm with the Water Resources Association of San Benito County. I'm also on the Green Business Committee with the San Benito County Chamber. Today in our studios we have David Lomax, who is a green building educator at San Jose City College. David comes to us, he has a degree in business administration and workforce development from the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. He's also a green educator and has a contractor's license. Welcome to the studio, David.
Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. First of all, I want to define what is green building.
It's a variation of materials, design, and application to that.
That's cool. Is it only for new construction?
No, it's definitely not for just for new construction, but it's good for remodel work. Matter of fact, when you do remodel work, that's a time when you really want to be green. So like if you have old windows, you need to replace those windows, make sure they're caulked and sealed up tightly. That's part of being green.
Can you do little changes at a time and eventually do, like the whole house, doing one section at a time? Is that possible?
Yeah, absolutely. I always teach my students to do a little bit at a time. And the reason is because it's important for cost. When you go in green, or when you're remodeling, it's not just going green, but when you're remodeling a house, the cost is extremely expensive.
Right.
Especially when you remodel a house. I mean, you don't know what's behind the walls.
Yeah, that's always a problem.
Yeah,
right?
that's difficult, So what's behind there? So you got to think about money. So I always tell my students to go slow, take it easy, take one little, eat an apple one bite at a time.
Yeah, I was looking over your biography on the San Jose City College website, and it sounds like you had experiences from building in Alaska with the native peoples up there all the way down to Mexico, and I was like, wow, these are two huge differences in climate and culture, and I was wondering if you could share some of those experiences with us.
Well, sure. When I was young, I worked in Alaska. We built native hut houses. I worked all over the state of Alaska, north of the Arctic Circle, on the panhandle of Alaska. I mean, it rains, in the most difficult places you can imagine on planet Earth. And that required, when I was a young kid, that required green construction. But of course, back then, it wasn't called green construction. Not that we were trying to be, we're environmentalists because, we love nature and stuff, but it wasn't, the reason why we were green wasn't because we were trying to protect the environment, it's because it was a matter of survival. So every time when you build a house out there and you build in a remote place, you had to make sure that you counted for every single stud or every single material there. You couldn't have any extra. So you really had to learn how to reduce your waste in building buildings there, up there in Alaska.
So I wanted to know, are you seeing a big demand for classes at the San Jose City College for green building?
Oh yeah, I taught the green last semester And I was just overwhelmed. I had so many students, it wasn't funny. It was almost like they were falling out the door.
Wow.
I mean, I had to actually turn people away. We're that full.
Well, the big question is, what's the job market like for green builders these days?
Well, the thing is that right now, let's be honest. Right now, the world is upside down economically. So everything is, in normal times, people would be having jobs right and left and so on. But there's fantastic opportunities out there. There's fantastic. We got to think about insulation and ventilation, and people have leaky houses.
Yeah, right.
It's costing them a fortune. People
I
can't
deal with
afford
that,
it.
water conservation, you
Yeah.
know, even things like that. But before we wrap up here, I just wanted to know if you could give us your contact information in case someone was interested in taking classes at San Jose City College.
We have certifications. I teach the OSHA program, 10-hour OSHA Fed program, and we do have a lead teacher out there that teaches lead, and then she preps you for the certification. You go to the state and take your.
Well, that's
your lead.
fabulous.
Yeah, it's a wonderful program.
Well, that's good. Well, I want to thank you for coming in today, and maybe we can get you here in the future, tell us some new developments in that field, but I really appreciate you coming in. Thank you, David.
Thank you very much.
All right.
You're watching Going Green. I'm David Huboi. I'm a certified green building professional and a licensed architect. And on the show is a repeat guest, is Keith Severson, who is a lead AP, a Build a Green professional, and marketing manager for Granite Rock. Welcome back on the show, Keith.
Great to be back, and good to see you again,
It's
David.
good to see you.
Thank you.
You know, Keith, let's begin with some statistics I read from the National Resource Defense Council that buildings consume up to 36% of our total energy.
Amazing. Yep.
And in response to the rising energy costs, owners and builders are looking at strategies for pursuing high performance designs such as LEED and Build It Green.
Right.
And now we have the Cal Green Build It
Cal
Code.
Green. I'm glad you brought that
Yeah,
up.
so perhaps you can just give us a little overview what LEED stands for and the differences between these.
LEED and Build It Green are programs that gave us some good traction in green building to get started, if you will. And now Cal Green has become part of the California Building Code and is actually part of Title 24, Part 11 is the Cal Green Code. And it will require that all buildings in the state of California meet those requirements. So there's great programs out there that will help people when they're building green, or building at all, but building green in particular, and give them mileposts or guidelines on how to do good job in green building. I wanted to point out that the United States Green Building Council that had created LEED, Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design, has over 1,000 buildings in the state of California that are certified LEED buildings. It's kind of an amazing stat, and it's a nice thing to know that there's this foundation built by those programs.
So we're off and running then.
We are off and running. Green building is great. And the state of California and Cal Green is the first state in the nation to have green building code.
Yeah, and I understand that the local agency can adopt which tier of the Cal Green
Yes.
that they would
So
like. There's different levels.
we're LEED and Build It Green to a lesser extent. We're voluntary measures. Cal Green is absolutely mandatory. The base measures are mandatory. And then as people can learn, the tiers are optional, and local agencies, local jurisdictions can adopt Tier 1 or Tier 2, which are significant improvements over the mandatory levels.
Great. You know, with all these performance standards and regulations now and recording requirements to get your building certified, isn't it important to keep a positive attitude and take a holistic approach of how you're going to achieve these goals?
Yes.
and be mindful of synergy? Maybe you can tell us what that,
The holistic or whole building approach is absolutely important, and Build It Green was really the best at trying to preach those tenets to green building professionals, and that is to look for solutions that are 80% or better. You can't always find 100% solutions. Look for, do not get enamored with technology too much, but good sound building practices. Certainly pay attention to local resources and reusable and renewable resources, and to realize that points are not really the points, but to be good sound stewards of the resources that we have and the opportunity that we have to build and build green.
Great. And when you take the holistic approach, I think it's mindful to start with the natural setting that the site has to offer,
Absolutely.
right? And
Yeah.
take those natural resources and to advantage, you know, the Frank Lloyd Wright organics philosophy,
Your hero,
which I'm
yes.
always getting on the soapbox about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's really important to pay attention to just basic principles about solar orientation, understanding that every system, the water system, for example, you can't change any one thing in a system without having an equal and opposite reaction. So if we build this building here, the rain that has fallen here for millennia has got to be altered.
Right.
And if we are doing a good sound building approach, a holistic look at the way this thing works, then we will pay attention to solar orientation, wind orientation, the natural slope of the terrain, and of course water and how water is acting and reacting.
And briefly, I want to talk about how important the design team is when you have a budget. I think a budget is always the driving cost, and it does take a little extra resource to have your building green.
And it can, yes.
So.
However, I think that the design team is essential, and involve people early and communicate effectively. As
Great.
architects, of course, you're going to be involved early, but not only that, involve your contractors, certainly the endpoint user, what they're going to want there. But contractors, and to a lesser extent material suppliers, may be able to provide you with some value engineering, something that you hadn't thought about. You came up with this great design. Somebody, the endpoint user, wanted a certain feature in there. Maybe the contractor can provide you with some value engineering that's going to save you a little money and meet those objectives.
So instead of maybe buying that expensive window, you maybe repair it and do some caulking around for the infiltration?
Absolutely. Reuse is absolutely essential. Diversion from landfill is essential. Using recycled content is really essential. And of course, we're big proponents for local materials.
And having a good leader on that team to look for in your local community, see who has supplies these reused materials?
Absolutely. And a good leader, and that leader should be a good communicator up and down the line for that whole team.
Great. Well, you know, building green certainly has challenges, and I just really want to thank you for clarifying some of these important issues today, Keith.
I hope
it's great
I've
having
helped.
you back on
My
the show.
pleasure. It's been a pleasure to be here with you.
Well, best of luck to you, and best of luck to Granite Rock.
Thank you.
See you again.
All right.
Okay. You're back watching Going Green, and this program is sponsored by the San Benito Chamber of Commerce. And back as a repeat guest is Mike Gallagher with Watt Electric, and Mike is a solar estimator and project manager. Hey, welcome back on the show,
Hey,
Mike.
thanks for having me back, Dave.
You're-
I appreciate it.
you're great. You know, I understand you've been pretty busy lately. You were just at Laguna Seca and
Yeah.
promoting this group discount that you guys are offering on solar panels. Maybe
Yep.
you could tell the viewers a little bit about what that means, the
Sure.
group discount.
Yeah, the Groupon style of discount that we're offering right now is something that allows homeowners to take advantage of the group ordering discounts that we get. Just like with any business, if we order enough materials all at one time, there are discounts that we get. And what we'd like to do is pass those along to homeowners and business owners in the area. So that if you were in a neighborhood and maybe at one of your HOA meetings, a lot of people were talking about getting solar, if we could get 3 or more people in a neighborhood to do solar at the same time, we'd be more than willing to pass the discount that we get on the solar materials on to them. And you know, we're talking about savings of anywhere from $2,500 to $3,000 per person.
Wow.
So they are significant savings. You know, and whatever we can do to help people in the area go green and actually reduce their dependency on fossil fuels and become more efficient with the way that they use and even produce electricity, you know, that's exactly what we'd like to do.
Great. Now, and not only do you promote the group discount, but also do you educate the homeowners about rebates and tax incentives and all that too?
Absolutely. You know, we're able to provide a solar analysis, and what that does is it shows, you know, what the upfront cost of the system will be, what the long-term savings are, what the actual power production is for the system over a 25-year period, and then we can show them how much money they'll get through the California Solar Initiative that is administered by PG&E. And also what their federal tax credit is. The feds provide a 30% tax credit for the installation of these systems, and PG&E offers 35 cents for every AC watt of solar that's installed on the home. So for certain people, we can provide savings of up to 35 or 40%. And then, of course, on top of that, the additional discount through that Groupon style of group buying program that we're offering right now.
Great. And when you take into consideration when you first go to meet with a property owner, I guess you look at the roof configuration and the exposure and
Yes.
taking that in consideration with the previous guest, talking about the holistic approach.
Sure.
That along with the education and
Yeah, I mean, you want to
about the
make sure
incentives.
that we're installing the system on the most optimized area for someone's home. Obviously, a south-facing roof is the best, and anything between south and west is the best orientation for the system. You also want to make sure that there aren't any shading issues. And then, of course, you want to check to see what type of a roof surface do they have on the home. Is it composition tile? Is it Spanish tile? Is it concrete tile? Because each of those individual roof surfaces has its own unique approach to the way that we need to install solar on the home.
Right. I have to confess with you, I've been reading about some green architects who are, and I have to include myself in this group, fans of nuclear power. The great nuclear reactor 93 million miles away that it has nuclear fusion. Our sun, Mr. Soleo,
Exactly.
provides all this free energy. So.
I am a fan of exactly one nuclear power plant, and that would be the sun.
The sun, right.
Right.
Absolutely. Well, you have an example of a solar module here, and I understand you get these solar panels from the good old USA, is that correct?
These solar panels are actually manufactured by Solar World. They have a manufacturing facility down in Camarillo that we actually had an opportunity to go down and visit. It really is amazing what they have down there. They're kicking out one solar panel every 19 seconds. The beautiful thing about these particular panels is that they have one of the highest efficiency rates in the industry right now. And another benefit is that they are all manufactured right here in the United States. The PV cell is manufactured in the Philippines, but that's where all photovoltaic cells are manufactured. But the rest of the components on this particular panel right here are all manufactured and assembled right here, not only in the United States, but right here in California.
Right, great. No moving parts except for the silicon, the electrons that get agitated by the sun energy. And
The
start
only
forming electricity.
parts on it that move really are, there's a cable that connects each panel to the next panel, but these are very rock hard units. They're able to take a 1-inch ball of hail shot at 65 miles an hour right at the very center of it, and you can even see you bang on it a little bit. At my size, I've even been known to crawl around on these things when we have to do a final inspection, just to make sure that all the connections are done the right way. So they're very durable. Really, as a homeowner, the only thing you need to do is about every couple of months spray them with a hose just to get the dust layer off.
I helped you carry that panel up here to the television
Yes, you
studio,
did.
so it's not that heavy.
No, it's really
so you
not.
don't have to to re-engineer the roof structure to account for the dead weight then.
On certain older homes, there may be the need to do an upgrade to
With
the
2x4 rafters.
to
Absolutely.
upgrade and
Yeah.
reinforce the rafters. You're talking about 3 pounds per square foot for the whole system. If you do have to do any upgrade to the roof, though, that 30% tax credit, the cost of doing the retrofit to the roof can be rolled in. So there
I
are
see.
additional savings there.
Okay. And so as with the savings and when the neighbor sees some of these solar panels are like on their schools and installed and their neighbor puts one up and they see it, you develop a familiarity with it.
Absolutely.
Then they want to be more comfortable about taking the plunge, wouldn't you say?
And that's what we're hoping with the installation that's going on at the local schools in Hollister. There's 7 different installations. Each of the schools had between 700 and 900 panels installed. What our hope is that as parents drop off their kids at school and as people in the community move around the area and they see these panels installed, that they will become a lot more comfortable with the idea of what solar energy is. I believe the school district is also going to be issuing performance statistics to show how much money they've saved and how much electricity has been generated. So as those systems become more commonplace around the community, I'm hoping that people will decide to find out how this could work for them on their home. Okay. And we're more than willing to give them that information.
Well, as neighborhoods go solar, communities then go solar, and the reduction of our cost of supply of energy and the benefit to our environment is greatly enhanced. I want to thank you for coming on the show, Mike.
Not a problem. Thank you, Dave. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and let us know about the group discounts that you offer.
Sure. We can be found on Facebook. You just got to do a search for Watt Electric Inc. And we've got a number of pictures there on some of the installations that we've done around the area.
Great. We'll see you next time.
All right, thanks.
You're welcome. welcome back to Going Green. You know, this was our anniversary show. I want to thank the guests that we had on today, Don Pidd and David Lomax, Keith Severson and Mike Gallagher, and our hosts here, and just wanted to share with the viewers a little bit about, you know, what drives the show, some of the things that go behind the scenes, working with all the wonderful CMAP crew that we have, and they've been great, and I think this show's been a lot of fun. I know it's been kind of casual interviews, and we got to know the guests. The guests have been great. What do you guys think? Have you had a lot of fun?
I've enjoyed. I've met people I normally wouldn't meet, you know, out of my field of work, and I met some new faces, and it's really encouraging to hear there's so much good work going on around our local area as far as bringing us green. That's great.
And the show, it comes from the Green Committee with the San Benito Chamber of Commerce, and that's Jessica is the president. She's our leader here, our fearless leader. It's always wonderful to have Jessica on the show. And it's great seeing you here again, Jessica.
No, thank you. And I know for my board of directors, they really appreciate the work that the Green Committee has been doing. David and Shawn both taking the lead on this. So thank you so much.
Yeah, great, you're very
Enjoyed
welcome.
it.
You know, I was thinking about what really motivates me. I want to lift my hair out a little bit here. You know, what motivates me is going green, and why I'm a proponent and advocate for going green. And I was thinking that perhaps it was my Boy Scout days when I was camping and got to love nature, and it kind of drives my tree-hugging personality, if you will. So I don't know if you guys want to share anything about what motivates you and what your passion is about the green agenda.
Jessica?
My passion is my parents are cattle ranchers, 5th generation, my brother and I are. So just being able to learn new things and take them back to the ranch, it's really helpful, because we are stewards of the land. So.
Great, yeah, it always seems to come from nature. How about you, Shawn?
Yeah, my family came to this country in the 1950s. My grandfather was a recycler, I guess you'd call him now, but he was a scrap metal guy, and we got a contract down at the GE iron plant to get the scrap metal to recycle it, and that's how we got into it. So I started getting into recycling from, I don't remember when I didn't think about recycling, and then I got into surfing when I got older, and the water, I got the connection with water, and here I am in the water industry, you know, so it's been part of me my whole life.
Great. You know, it's not just what really is that drives my passion too. It's not just learning how to restrict the use of materials, and it's learning about new ways of doing things and new technologies, which is what I find fascinating, intriguing with going green. So, hey, thanks for being part of this show, guys. It's good to see you here again.
Thank
and
you.
Are you ready for another year? Huh?
I am. It's been a lot of fun. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Definitely.
All right. Hey, well, all right. Well, let's continue to go green. We'll see you next time.